All right, so your next project is using the coils. And this time we're going to be using the coils not only to create the structure, but also for the decoration. So you're doing your decoration part of it right as you go on this one. For this project, we are going to start with a flat base, okay? And we haven't rolled out clay yet, so I'll help you out with that. So take a small piece. You don't need a very big chunk of clay to work with. And I'm going to first flatten it out a little bit in my hands. Okay, you don't need to go crazy, but just get it pre-going a little bit. It'll make it easier down here. Okay, I'm rolling it out on a cloth. Sometimes it'll stick to the table a little bit too much. So if you have an old towel or piece of material, that's a great thing to put down. Now, when you roll clay out, you want to start in the center and push and lighten up as you go the other direction. Okay, pick it up, turn it over. Okay, and then go the other direction. And it might stick a little bit. Okay. The reason while we're doing it this way is it'll create a more even piece of clay. All right. So that'll help it from sticking. You can sandwich it in between. So we're looking again about a 1/4 inch thickness, which is a good thickness to work with for your base. And we don't just roll it out like this, because when you do that, it stays thick in the center and it gets really thin towards the ends. So by rolling kind of out and over, picking it up, turn it, releases it so it doesn't stick as much, and it's going to look more evenly rolled out. Okay. Now, if you add a couple sticks, something about even thickness, we could do that right alongside of it. And these are maybe about 1/8 of an inch, a little thinner than we want, but it'll work. And you can use that. And then that way, you know you're not going to go any thinner than that. Turn it the other direction and do the same thing. So that's another trick you can do. Now you can decide whatever shape you want the base to be. You can use a ruler. You can use lids. You could cut out a shape from cardboard, and whatever you want to do with it, okay? So I have kind of a piece cut out. I'm going to place that down, take my little knife, and then just go all the way around. Okay, and then just kind of cut that so we can eliminate that out of there. Keep that. You're going to need it for other things, or at least add it to your slip. Now just go around, smooth the edges if you want. You can go a little bit of water. Remember, that little bit of water will always smooth out that edge nicely, okay? So that is going to be your base. Now, in the last project, we showed how to make coils, all right? So this time when you do it, you might want to break these up into smaller pieces and work them so you can get them a little thinner. Because you're seeing the coils, you don't want them super thick. You want to think the proportion. Remember, these are those elements and principles that you had a presentation for. And so we want this thickness, the thickness of your little balls, all to be uniform when you're building this. So it'll look nice when you're all said and done, okay? Now, you could start straight down with your coils if you wanted to, or you can start with the design. Now, I like having my slip close by and that plastic fork I gave you, okay? So that first ring around, okay, just like we did in the other one, you want to make sure it's going to be stuck to the base. So we are going to score it and slip, okay? After that, if your stuff is pretty soft, you won't need to do it. But whenever it feels like it's not sticking well, you need to score and slip. Otherwise, it's just going to fall apart when it dries, okay? This is what really helps. It's the glue to get it to hold. All right, I'm going to go with something a little different. So I'm going to spiral my clay in a couple different directions. So I'm going to go that way and this way. Remember, it's up to you. And then I just kind of twist till I get about even. Now I have that scored. I am going to score the bottom of that now, add a little bit of slip, and push down a little bit. I'm going to use this, or I think I have popsicle sticks somewhere along the line here. Can't find them in my mess. But now what we want to do is blend that in at the bottom, okay? And smooth it out. Now, if you want it waterproof throughout, you're going to make sure you meld everything. If you're okay with there being little holes in it, that's okay. Negative space is fine. Then you just want to make sure you're melding it so it's stuck. So you can see these are holding that well, okay? So that inside is nice and smoothed out now. My outside, I'm keeping the design. All right, so I'm going to continue on with whatever you want for the pattern. Each row can change. Let's say now I'm going to go with maybe a little bit of the little balls, the little pebbles. And remember, those are added to create variety. So I'm going to stack them. And again, I'm going to go on that inside and I'm going to meld. And melding is just blending them in. Now I'm also, if you notice, supporting the back side so I'm not pushing my walls out. You want to have support there. Okay, I'm going to go back to my double spiral. Okay, and just kind of keep going. I just want you to see some other little things you can do. Try to make them even. Remember, in your assignment, it says you need to go at least 6 rows up, okay? So you have plenty of time to work. I'm giving you about a week for each of these to work on. So don't feel rushed. I'll show you what this looks like here in a second again. So I'm melding all parts side by side next to each other. And again, I'm supporting the outside when I do it. Then that way I'm not pushing the walls out. Same thing as last assignment. If you want your walls straight up, you stack your coils straight up. If you want them to go in, it tapers in slightly towards inside. If you want them to go out wider, we go slightly towards the outer edge. Okay, so you can see then how that is starting with my design and pattern. So double swirl, double stack of the balls. The inside, I'm smoothed out. All right, so you just keep going. You could decide your next row could be maybe it's going to be just a straight one. Okay, again, up to you. The little spaces you can see through there, negative space that is, and that is fine. You can have it. Again, if you want to put liquids in it, you're going to want to cover them up. And if it feels like you can't meld that in, this is where you just take a little bit of soft clay on the inside, add to it, and then just meld it in and fill them in, okay? So everything's good that way too for you to get that together. So remember, we got 1 row, this would be 2. Keep going at least 6 rows. You can go much taller if you want, okay? If you're enjoying it, you like what it's looking like, go as big as you want, shape it however you would like, okay? So there is your coil project, construction, and your design as you go. Don't forget, take 2 pictures, answer the questions, put them on a sheet in Notability, and turn that in. Great. Enjoy.